Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is a very gloomy September day, the last day of September, and I'm filming my wrap up. So all the books that I read in September. I would love it to be sunnier, but this is what we're working with and I feel like it fits the vibe. I read quite a bit, so I would like grab a blanket, grab a snack, get comfy because I'm comfy because I have so many books to talk about. So I'm gonna try to be snappy about this, but we both know, me and you watching now, I'm not snappy. So let's just get into it. Also, I only own 4 of these. The rest I'll put on the screen. So first I read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore, which I feel like has been going around everywhere, especially this year, but I feel like it also like was going around a lot last year. And I saw it and it looked so cute. Like the cover is just adorable. And it's basically like kind of a Grumpy Sunshine situation about this girl who owns this pumpkin spice cafe. She just inherited it, I want to say. And there's also like kind of a mystery going on, like a little like cozy mystery going on in the cafe, and there's a romance going on. It's like a small town vibe. I do think it's worth the read because it gives very much fall vibes. I gave it a 3.5. I thought it was just a fun fall time. It is very spicy. There's a few scenes at the very end I feel like that are very spicy, and if you don't know that, I feel like this cover makes you think that it's not spicy, but it is, so just be aware of that. But I did have like a good time reading it. It's one of those books like you probably will never think about it again, but it really got me in the fall mood. Next I read Small Spaces by Catherine Arden, and I also read Dead Voices by Catherine Arden, which is the second book in the series. I'm just gonna talk about both of them. So this is like a middle grade spooky series. There's 4 books. I read the first 2, and the first book basically is about this girl who she finds this book, and it's about this farm and these missing people and these scarecrows, and she's just like, what is going on? And then her school goes on this field trip, and you're just following her and a couple of her friends from school. And then the second one is about her and her friends going to this ski lodge and ends up being haunted. And these are just a really good time. Honestly, like I really just had so much fun reading them because I feel like they keep you on the edge of your seat. They're pretty short. There's not any romance in them, but they're just like a good spooky time, especially for October. Like I think these are perfect for October. They're obviously easy to read because they're middle grade. I do think I enjoyed the first one more. Like I just liked the premise more. I thought that was more interesting. While the second one I was like, it is kind of giving more winter vibes because it's a ski lodge, but I still enjoyed both of them. I had a really good time reading them. I would say probably 4 stars for the first one, maybe like a 3.5 for the second one, but like just a really fun time. They're like a little over 200 pages, like easy quick reads, and they're not gonna scare you. I feel like these are perfect like spooky books. They won't scare you. I love like the friendship aspects, especially in the second one, and there's like a kind of a found family that's happening in these books. So I really enjoyed it. Had a good time. If you're looking for like just something quick, easy, spooky for October, highly recommend these. Then I read If Tomorrow Never Comes by Allison Ashley. Oh my goodness, guys. I love Allison Ashley's books so much. I was so excited to get an arc of her new release. This, I don't want to say too much about it. It's basically about this girl who is going through a cancer treatment, and basically the night before she goes to this bar, she meets this guy. He invites her to this like cooking class because the girl he was going with stood him up, and then they like separate ways, and then she has a surgery the next day. They see each other a year later, and there are some unforeseen circumstances with them meeting again, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I love this book so much. I feel like when you start this book, you can just feel, like you can tangibly feel the connection that these 2 characters have. I've never seen or like read a book where the characters you can just like feel. It's like love at first sight. Like I don't even know how, I don't necessarily believe in love at first sight, but I feel like this book, like you can just tell, like the chemistry and like the draw to the characters is so tangible in this book. Even like at the very beginning, like I'm like 5 pages in and I'm like highlighting, like literally giddy at these characters. Like I feel like their connection was just instantaneous. Like literally immediately upon meeting, they were just like in love. Not really in love, but like you could just feel the chemistry. And I feel like also Allison Ashley's books, she just like makes you feel every emotion that the characters are feeling. Like the anguish, the like heartache, the happiness, the pain, the like beautiful moments. Like you just feel every single one of them, and it is so good. Like I love these characters. I also feel like one of the tropes in this book could really go downhill very fast, but the way that Allison Ashley wrote it was so good, like so perfect. Every aspect of this book was perfect. I gave it 5 stars. So good. One of my favorite books of the year. Like it was incredible. I could not put the book down. I read it so fast. It was one of those books like I had to keep reading. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I feel like from the plot to the pacing, everything was just so perfect. And also Allison Ashley's books have like a medical aspect to them, but they do have a happily ever after, which I really appreciate in her books. Literally, I cannot explain it. Like these 2 characters are soulmates, like literal soulmates, and just the way they love each other, they're just perfect together. I'm obsessed with them. They're perfect. Together in every lifetime, that's these characters. I love them so much. This book comes out the end of January, and you need to pre-order it. So I'm gonna shut up about that, and we're gonna move on. So next, I read Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. This is a little fall graphic novel. It is so cute. I read a few of these books in my fall reading vlog, so I'll link that below if you wanna watch it, but this is just a little graphic novel, young adult, about these two characters who both work at a pumpkin patch, and they are seniors. This is their last shift at the pumpkin patch. It's Halloween, and you're just following them. It's adorable. Like, it's just such a good time. You read it in like an hour, and you just have a blast. This is perfect for fall, October, Halloween. You should read this. I borrowed it from the library, but I loved it so much that I bought it. I found it used at my local bookstore. Had to have it. Then I read Garlic and the Vampire and Garlic and the Witch, which are two more graphic novels, and I really enjoyed these as well. They basically follow Garlic and her journey throughout life, and just these like literal vegetables. You're just following these vegetables around as they learn, as they grow, as they face challenges, specifically Garlic facing her fears. And it's just so cute. Like, it's such wholesome fall reads. Like, I love these so much. I just had such a good time reading them. They're like little quick 30-minute reads. Also, the art style of these graphic novels I really love too. So I am laughing at myself because the next book is Wisteria by Adeline Grace. And literally all I put in my notes, like, I didn't write anything else in my review except this. Oh my gosh, I sobbed for the last 30 pages. I think Adeline killed me. That's my review, and we're gonna move on. I'm just kidding. I will actually review this book, but I did read this in my fall reading vlog, so I have my reactions and my extensive thoughts in that video, but I gave this book 5 stars. This is the last book in the Belladonna series trilogy, and it is so good. This does follow different characters than the first 2 books. It definitely takes a turn in the series once you get to Wisteria, and this is the best book yet. It's so good. There's like enemies to lovers romance, all the tropes that you love probably in fantasy romance is in this book. It's like a gothic fantasy. The first 2 books follow Signa, and death follows her. Everyone around her seems to die, and the physical embodiment of death follows her, and she ends up going to this new manor called Thorngrove, and she meets some family and is figuring out this mystery. Then she figures out another mystery in Foxglove, and then this book is based on a different character, actually like 2 different characters, and I just loved it so much. First, I love the cover so much. Without the dust jacket and with the dust jacket, it's just beautiful. Honestly, it wrecked me, as I put in my review. I gave it 5 stars. I just loved it so much. I actually had 3 5-star reads this month, which is crazy, but I just loved it so much. I don't even know how to explain it. I feel like the writing, the characters, I just love them, and I feel like I just feel so much for the characters. That's why I literally sobbed. I just love them so much. I'm so excited for the holiday novella that's going to take place after this that comes out next year. I am so excited. I just love the series. This is definitely a new favorite fantasy series, and this book is just a new favorite book. So you need to read the first 2 just so you can read and experience this one. It's so good. And I love the magic system and like the storyline. I feel like it's very unique, and I think that's why I love this fantasy series so much, because it is so unique. I do like kind of sometimes love a book that makes me cry, but I feel like this also, like, the plot was super interesting and kept me like very engaged and like wanting to keep reading. So loved it so much. Next, I read Only in Your Dreams by Madison Wright. I got an arc of this, and this is the second book after Off the Beaten Path, which I really enjoyed, so I was very excited for this. So this is brother's best friend, and basically the male main character has just been obsessed with the female main character for years, and she just doesn't really know. She's oblivious, and honestly, that's pretty much all I remember about this book, because I like to call this a post 5-star flop. This could have been better if I read it not after Wisteria, which was like absolutely incredible, mind-blowing, amazing. It was one of those books that was like quick, a good time. I'll never think about it again. So I do recommend it if you did like the first book, because I feel like I've seen a lot of good reviews for this, but it was just like kind of wrong time for me. And I just feel like it was like nothing like crazy, but it is closed door if you want a closed door book. So anyways, I have not been saying spice either. If Tomorrow Never Comes does not have spice. So I've been getting really bad about not saying spice. So if you want to know when I don't say it, like, comment below. Next, I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Yeah, that's who it is. And I read this also in my fall reading vlog. I didn't put much, honestly, in my notes for this either, but basically this is a YA mystery, and it follows this girl who is doing a school project on this like cold case, which seemingly was solved, but she doesn't think that person did it. So she's like going over the case, asking people questions, doing interviews, things like that, and you're just following the mystery. It's very good. It kept me on the edge of my seat, kept me engaged, kept me very intrigued to want to know what happened, who the killer was. There's also a minor romance subplot, which I really enjoyed, and I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. I did give more of my thoughts, reactions, and stuff in my fall reading vlog, but I just had a good time reading this. I'm very excited to continue with the series and see what happens next. I do think some parts were like not believable, but you kind of have to suspend belief when it comes to like a YA mystery, but still had a great time reading it. Next, I read Sunday Supper by Kay Cinco, and I sadly did not like this book. I was really hoping that I would because the premise sounds so good. It's basically about this girl who finds out that she has this long lost uncle and she lives in New York City, and she goes to one of his restaurants, meets the chef, and then it just kind of goes from there. I just did not enjoy this. I gave it 2.5 stars, and it's because there was one plot point in this book that literally drove me crazy. I just kept reading hoping that like the plot would like, you know, change. But no, I love the New York City setting. I loved the descriptions of fall because this is set in the fall, but I just couldn't get past that plot point. I literally couldn't. I was so annoyed with the entire book. So you might enjoy it. My friend, one of my friends gave it 5 stars, so she enjoyed it, but I could not get past it. Sometimes this happens with me in books. Like if there's one aspect of the book that drives me crazy, likely I will not get past it because like I literally like get so annoyed I can't do it. Next, I read All the Missing Pieces by Catherine Cowles. This is her, I think, trad debut that comes out in January. And this is about a podcaster. So the female main character is a podcaster, and she goes to this small town and is basically like investigating this missing persons or like kidnapping case kind of, and I really enjoyed this. I love Catherine Cowles' books. I feel like all of them I really enjoy. All of her books are romantic suspenses, so there's romance but there's also a suspense plot. I feel like the suspense plot in this book was very interesting. I really enjoyed it, and I was very curious to see who the killer was. I did guess it towards the end, but I still really enjoyed it. It's not one of my favorites by Catherine Cowles, but I still had a good time reading it. I liked the romance. I definitely would recommend it when it comes out. I'm excited to see her books being traditionally published, and I hope this is a series, but I don't think it's gonna be, so. And then I reread A Tale of Three Kings by Jean Edwards. This is a little Christian nonfiction book, and it's basically about 3 kings. As you can tell by the title, David, Absalom, and Saul. It's about these 3 kings that are in the Bible, and it's kind of a story on brokenness. I feel like if you have gone through church hurt or something like that, or if you were just, I don't know, I feel like every Christian needs to read this. Honestly, it is so good. I gave it 5 stars because it's just one of my favorite Christian books of all time. Like I love it so much. I feel like I always learn something when I read it, and I just love it. So I highly recommend this if you haven't read it, and it's so short. So very quick read. Love this so much. Next, I read The Wingman by Stephanie Archer. I got an arc of this as well, but it is out now, and this is the 3rd book in the Vancouver Storm series. I did not enjoy the 1st book, but I love the 2nd one, so I was very excited for this one. It is best friends to lovers, and you see these characters in the first 2 books, and especially the end of the 2nd one made me so excited for this book. I literally stayed up till 2:30 in the morning reading this book because it was literally so good. I could not stop reading it. It was so good. I gave it 4.5 stars. It is very, very spicy, so beware of that. I just skipped over it, but I love a best friends to lovers plot. They're also roommates, which I love. The main character is a rich athlete. Also love that. So it just ticked all my boxes. It really did. Also feel like the male main character was just so obsessed with the female main character. Like he's been in love with her for years, and the way he loved her and like showered her with gifts. Oh, I eat it up. It's so good. He was so sweet to her. And I really liked Darcy and how she was like finding herself and how Hayden helped with that. It was just really, really good. I feel like they both had struggles that they worked through, and I really enjoyed it. I feel like if you like hockey romances, you should read this. If you read the other 2 books in the series, you should read this. It was really, really good. Love. Just had a great time. Next, I reread Lace on Love by Fallon Ballard, and it was so, so good. I've been wanting to reread this for a while, and I was waiting till the fall time to do it, and I'm so glad I did because this was so, so good. It just like confirmed that this is one of my favorite romances. I love it so much. So basically this is about Sadie, and she is in need of a roommate, and she ends up moving in with Jack in this brownstone in Brooklyn, New York City, and you're just following her and him. It's like roommates to lovers. It's kind of like over a span of time, so there's scenes in the fall for Thanksgiving, and I just like annotated the heck out of this book because it was just so good. Like literally underlined, highlighted so many quotes because I just love this book so much. The male main character in this book is just a literal cinnamon roll. I love him so much. He's so sweet. Like the soft, like small things that he would do for the female main character. Oh, I love him. Even like the big things he would do for her. I just love him so much. And then the female main character, I feel like she like thinks she's like terrible and doesn't deserve any good in her life. And I'm like, oh, it makes me so sad. I feel like as you read the book, she like realizes that she does deserve like good things and like good people in her life, which just makes me so happy for her. Literal fictional character, but I just love both of these main characters so much. I love the friendships aspect of this book as well. There's just such a found family in this book. Also feel like Jack's like words of affirmation, like he was just so incredible. Like gifts, but also words of affirmation. I just love him so much. I love these characters. I love this book. I feel like I'm a part of their friend group, which doesn't make any sense because they're not real. And I also just love the New York City setting. It is so good. It makes it so cozy, and I just love this book. So if you have not read it, you need to. My reread is so good. 5 stars. Also, my 3 5-star reads, I wasn't counting rereads. So anyways, I loved every moment of this book, and I'm so happy that I reread it. So that was incredible. Next, I read Witches of Brooklyn by Sophie. I don't know how to say that last name, but this was like a little middle grade graphic novel that I found literally on Google. I Googled cozy graphic novels for fall, and this came up. And it's basically about this girl who, her mom passes away and she moves in with, I think, her aunts or her grandmothers. I can't remember, but they are witches, and you're just following the story. It is a like series, and I enjoyed this. I gave it 3 stars. I feel like it was just a fun, good time, pretty quick, easy, and it's a graphic novel, so it's just fun pictures and stuff. Really enjoyed it, especially for fall. Then I read The Situationship by Abby Jimenez. This is her little short story that was in the Target special edition of Just for the Summer, and it follows, actually I don't know if I can say who it follows because it might spoil some things, but basically it is a short story about Emma's best friend Maddie from Just for the Summer, and it was so good. It was 20 pages, really enjoyed it. I love Abby Jimenez's writing. She literally writes so well. It's 20 pages, and I just had a great grand old time. It's so funny. I wish we had a whole book of these characters. Like, I really, really loved it. I gave it 4 stars, and it was literally 20 pages. Next, I cannot believe I'm about to say this, but I read Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I love Sarah Adams so much. We all know this. We were all there, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us were there a few years ago when I found her. She's one of my favorite authors, and I've been literally so excited for this book, and I got an arc of it. Thank you to my job at the library for allowing me to get this arc. So this is the 3rd book in the Rum Kentucky series, which my favorite book by Sarah Adams is Practice Makes Perfect. I've read it like 4 times, and I was so excited to read this, like obviously to read about the next sister, but also to see specifically what Will and Annie are up to. I just needed to know, and now I know, and I'm so happy about it. But this follows Emily, who is Noah and Annie's sister, and she is a teacher, and the male main character is Jack, who is also a teacher, and it's kind of like a enemies to lovers situation. I don't want to say too much about the plot because you might want to go in blind, and I usually don't say much about arcs, but I had someone on my Instagram request me to share my thoughts on this book, so I'm gonna share a little bit. I love this book so much. I gave it 5 stars. No one's surprised. Literally no one. I just loved it so much. I feel like I was back home in Rum, Kentucky, in my safe place, in my comfort place. Like, it was just so good. The romance was so sweet. I just loved their romance and their love. I love seeing the other characters. I love seeing the town. I feel like the plot was really good. I feel like Sarah's writing gets better literally with every book. Anyways, so I just really love this book. I love these characters. I love this town. I'm so sad that the next book is the last book, but I'm also so excited for it. Like, the crumbs we get in this book for the next book, oh, I'm so excited for it. Okay, well, I think that's all I'm going to say about Beg, Borrow, or Steal, but just know it was perfect. I loved it so much. I'm so excited for it to come out. Okay, last book that I read was The Library of Shadows by Rachel Moore. I saw Katie is read this in one of her recent reading vlogs, and it sounded so good, so I decided to read it. And it's basically about this girl who goes to this like prep academy school, and her dad went to the same school, and basically there's a library on campus that is supposedly haunted, and she does this tour in this library, like around campus and the library, and meets this guy, and something happens. She has to work at the library now at night, and you're just following her. I don't want to say too much because it's kind of fun just to go in blind, but this is like a mystery. There's some romance. It's like paranormal, which is fun, and I just loved it so much. I gave it 4.5 stars. I really love this. I feel like it was just so atmospheric, perfect for this time of year. It starts in like September, so it's just perfect for this time of year, especially like when I started reading it. I loved the prep school setting and the library, and also I feel like the importance of like libraries and how important to Estee libraries were. Like, she really had that like a safe place in libraries, and also feel like her job at the school at the library, like I very much related to, because she would like shelve books and go through the computer and like check in and out, you know, that kind of thing. I was like, oh, I'm doing those things at my job, which is really cool. And I really love the mystery. It kept me very much engaged, excited to keep reading, wanting to know what happened. And then also the romance was just so sweet. I really enjoyed it, and I just had so much fun reading it. I highly recommend it for the fall season, and I can't wait to read her next book that just came out recently, but really enjoyed this. I feel like it's perfect for fall, atmospheric, and it is YA, so no spice. So anyways, that is all the books that I read in September. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have been talking for so long, so now I'm gonna sit and I'll talk for a while because these videos, I like literally can't shut up. So anyways, I think that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to know what you read in September. If you've read any of these books, any of your thoughts, leave them below. And I think that's it. So I'll see you in my next video. Bye.